I almost lost my rear wheel and my dealer kicked me out. Yet, I'm still super happy with the Orbea Wild. How does that add up? You're about to find out after 1 year and 1,500 kilometers. For my first impressions and more details on the specs, feel free to check out my new bike day video. In this video, I'll be reporting on everything that happened with the bike over the past year. As I mentioned in the new bike day video, this beauty demands attention. You have to check all the bolts regularly. In my case, for example, after about 150 kilometers, all the bolts on the rear brake disc and the rear caliper were loose. The rear shock bolts also needed tightening, and at around 300 kilometers, I almost lost the entire rear axle. You definitely need to retighten that one very frequently. The first wear part that needed replacing was the rear tire. I had originally configured Maxxis tires with the DH casing as an upgrade. They are very sturdy, but with that super soft compound, the rear tire became a slick in no time. For the replacement, I went with the Conti Cryptotal soft compound, which is significantly more durable. In March, I had my first real problem with the bike. I was out on the Jura trails and connected the range extender when the battery was almost empty. Unfortunately, the bike stopped accepting power through the charging port. Eventually, the main battery died while the range extender was still full, and the bike just shut off. Charging via the wall outlet wasn't possible either. My dealer identified a faulty cable as the culprit and replaced it, which finally fixed the issue. A short time later, I kept getting battery error messages. Eventually, Bosch even inspected the battery, but they couldn't find a fault. Regardless, the error disappeared after that and hasn't returned since. Maybe it was because I stripped everything down myself to wrap the internal cables and lines in foam, because the rattling was driving me crazy. During that process, I had a lot of fun with the cables routed through the headset. Who on earth thinks that's a good idea? I think whoever invented that simply hates mechanics. At the end of June, I got stuck on a pedal catching route on the Blindsea Trail, which bent the pedal. I managed to make it around the lake, but by then the threads in the crank arm were gone and the crank was junk. I requested a new crank from my dealer that same day. After 2 weeks of waiting, instead of a crank, my dealer simply recommended I find a new shop. Apparently, he had dropped Orbea from his range and claimed he wasn't getting any response from them, blah, blah, blah. A few days later, I finally received a new crank from the next nearest Orbea dealer. Sometime during the summer, the lower headset bearing rusted out and had to be replaced. Shortly after that, I had a crash in Schladming and couldn't ride for the rest of the year. When I finally took the bike in for its annual inspection in early February, the odometer showed 1,500 kilometers. The bearings were all fine, only the chain and cassette were replaced. Before I get to the conclusion, a few words on range. I mostly rode in E-MTB mode, or E-MTB Plus after the update. With the range extender, I can manage about 2,000 meters of elevation gain. In Tour Plus mode, it's about 2,500 meters. I only use the full 100 Newton meters power in turbo mode, which I rarely use. It just drains the battery too fast, and the standard 85 Newton meters is honestly more than enough for me. Let's wrap it up. I am very happy with my Orbea Wild. The initial electronic issues were solved quickly and haven't returned. The durability of the components has been good so far, especially the wheels, which seem very solid. My only criticism is the plastic motor guard. It has cracked several times now and really should be made of aluminum. I'm curious to hear about your experiences with Orbea and Bosch. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the trail.